If you've been following the news, you probably have known that there is a mass persecution of Christians, especially in the countries of Iraq and Syria. And there is a movement afoot to take out Christianity in that part of the world. But there is some resistance to this movement, and it's not coming from the Iraqi government or the Syria government. It's coming from Christians themselves. And we support this movement through social media. If you follow the hashtag, WeAreN, the letter N. And I'll explain the letter N to you. The people who want to take out the Christians went around to all the Christians' homes and they spray painted the Arabic letter Nun on it, which is an N for us. And it's the first letter of the word Nasra, or the Nazarenes, Christians, followers of Jesus of Nazareth. And the resistance is not being done with weapons. It's being done with prayer. And it's timed very well with one of the songs that we sang, Lord, hear my call. O Lord, listen, accept my prayer, Lord. Keep me from traps they set for me. May they all backfire and let me escape. Some of them have escaped, some haven't. But they are always confident of the Lord's provisions. Never be unsure of the Lord's provisions. And that's the lesson for us that we can learn from the Nasra, the Nazarenes. God provides for you, but in his own time. He might not give you exactly what you need, but he will always give you exactly, I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. He might not give you exactly what you want, but he will always give you exactly what you need. Your life, your sustenance, all about you is dependent completely on the provision of God. We all know this intuitively, but it's not always easy to trust that intuition. You know God's provision and his promise that he will grant those, and that is true, but sometimes your empty stomach or an empty life or a frightened life takes that away from you. A lot of people today here in America losing their jobs, and all they know is, in the moment, I don't have a job. And so it's easy to remove trust in God and to place it solely on the self. Well, Jesus made a feast for 5,000 plus people out of food the disciples had stashed away, and they had to fess up and say, yeah, Jesus, we have food, but we only have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. How are we going to feed 5,000 people? These people were starving, and their trust in God at that very moment was very, very low. All they knew is that their stomachs are empty, and they need some food right now. And it was a need that had to be addressed. So Jesus said, or his disciples said, here we are, Jesus, out in the middle of nowhere. Why don't we just send them home? Let's just scoot them on their way so that they can find something to eat in the villages. And Jesus said to them, no, you give them something to eat. We don't have anything, Jesus. Well, we do have something, but it's not enough. And to this, Jesus says, give them to me. To Jesus, this is plenty, because he can multiply it. And he can have it multiplied enough to feed the crowd of 5,000 plus people and then have leftovers. Now, if that is not provision and abundance, I don't know what is. Jesus transformed lack into plenty. And that's the mindset that Jesus wants us to have, a mindset of plenty and not scarcity. Now, this isn't about food in particular, although this was a food event. The larger issue here that needs to be addressed is the issue that God's provision for you comes to you, first of all, at no cost. It costs you nothing. All that God provides is free. All that he gives to sustain life is free. He provides for it. Now I know it costs money at the store and the retail centers, but that's to pay the people who God raises up to bring the provision to you. They need to be supported as well. But the provision itself is free from God, and he expects nothing in return. God provides to your benefit and to your well-being because of his love for you, and also because he wants you to listen to him so that your soul may live, and that you would serve him in blessedness and innocence all of your life. You see, there is a peace plan, and the Nasra in the Middle East, they know this, that Jesus has the only peace plan in the world that actually works. While there are many in our broken world who are calling for war and trying to justify destruction while evading responsibility to care for others, Jesus took what the disciples had in their possession and multiplied it for others. There was plenty and then some. You could be amazed at what God can do for others with what you have. And the Christians in the Middle East are caring for one another. They have very little, but what they do have, they find that the Lord is taking care of them. You give them something to eat. That is Jesus' peace plan for the world. Of course, only with his help can the world do this. Because, honestly, if left to you and me, we would complain and argue that we don't have enough. Such is human nature. But if left to Jesus, our complaining would turn into amazement. Our lack will turn into plenty, and our sorrow will be turned into joy. Pray in the Spirit for all Christians around the world, especially the ones who are facing persecution and elimination. Pray that God will upset the plans of their enemies and foil them so that they may escape, and that God will continue to provide for their needs and for ours as well, and for the world mostly. Amen.